Hello and welcome to the InfraOps Guild. If you're watching this video, chances are you're trying to figure out whether or not you want to buy one of our courses, and one of your big questions is probably $250. This can't be a good class. There's no way. Impossible. How in the world can you deliver 5-star teaching and instruction with good platforms and everything like that for $250 in the evening time through a Stripe business account? Well, let me tell you something, we can. And let's go ahead and just dive right on into what our environments look like. We have the distinct pleasure of working with Alta 3, that is Alta 3 Research, as our partner. And as such, we happen to be using their exact same platform, the platform that they would use when they are selling to big Fortune 500 companies, large classes of 20 to 24 students with a professional instructor. I am one of those professional instructors. In fact, I am the Kubernetes series maintainer and administrator. My job is to make sure all of our Kubernetes courses are up to date with the latest and greatest in terms of curriculum, practices, and so on and so forth. That's my job. So when you purchase Kubernetes training from the InfraOps Guild, know this: you're getting the best Kubernetes training platform on the face of the planet and the best Kubernetes courseware on the face of the planet. And the guy who's teaching it, he's the maintainer of that course software. So with that being said, you're getting the best of the best of the best for the low price of $250. Now, along with that, I want to make sure you understand exactly how this particular platform works. So when you join one of our classes, I will give you a link that'll take you to a dashboard that looks a little bit like this. If you're joining us for our certified Kubernetes application developer class, which I hope you will, $250, go to infraopsguild.com. And what you'll find is this particular group dashboard. This group dashboard is your portal to all of our courseware. When you come into class, I will assign you a learning environment just by clicking on your name and dragging it to a particular machine. There you have it. You now have an environment. But the question is, what is this environment all about? What does it look like? Well, this environment is actually a suite of 4 virtual machines. In Kubernetes, as you may already know, the idea is to run a containerized application over a pool of nodes, which is known as a cluster. Wonderful. That means that we need to have more than one virtual machine. You're getting 4. You're going to get one virtual machine, which is known as the Beachhead Workstation, or BCHD. And it looks a little bit like this when you get into the learning environment. This is fully Linux. In our classes, we expect you to know Linux, or at least have command over the Linux CLI, having some ability to change directory, make directories, and perform simple systems administration tasks. All right. But if you don't know any of that, don't worry. We kind of talk a little bit about it as we go on and along. If you're here to learn Kubernetes, but you don't know Linux, I would advise you to learn Linux first, but it's not entirely necessary. We can work with that. But with that being said, you will see a command line interface just like this. And it's from this command line interface that we can begin building a Kubernetes cluster. And in our class, we use the same Ansible playbooks that we would use with Alta 3 to build a Kubernetes cluster in minutes and get right to learning. It's as simple as changing directory into our Git Kubernetes the Alta 3-way directory. And then here you'll notice that we have an Ansible playbook. So we're going to go ahead and run Ansible playbook main.yaml, and this will begin the process of actually initializing a Kubernetes cluster across all of our virtual machines that are in our learning environment. And this gets done in about 6 minutes. So you're right into learning immediately. No technical hiccups, no problems, no worries. We're learning right away. And that is the InfraOps Guild promise. We will not sell courseware that isn't ready to run tech ready immediately. It will not happen. Everything we teach has gone through the fine-tooth comb. So with that being said, getting back into our course group dashboard preview. Once you have your virtual machine assigned to you, you will also notice a few notes over here in the whiteboard. Things like the schedule, when our breaks are, and instructor email and things like that. You can also find the course content down below here under course content. For the Kubernetes Application Developers course, Part 1 and Part 2. You will have access to the Certified Kubernetes Application Developer course in its entirety, and the Crush the CKAD mock practice exam. You can access that by simply clicking on the down arrow here, right-clicking on the link and selecting link in new tab. Open link in new tab. I recommend doing that. Just that way you keep your group dashboard open. But it would open it up into its own separate tab. Really nice and easy. Very easy to navigate. The next thing you want to do is you'd more than likely like to take a look at the lab work and the environment at the same time. Got you covered. We have something called Your Content. Click the Your Content tab, and you'll be taken to this particular screen. You'll notice that we are seeing a view of our Beachhead workstation as it continues getting Kubernetes clusters up and running. But over here on the left side, you'll notice we have all of our lab content. Now, I teach this lab content all the time, so I guess I was cached to labels at that particular moment. But at any particular case, here you can see that it's very easy to navigate our lab content. All of the lab content is going to be available to you as soon as you come into the class. So once you come on in, you can then go ahead and quickly run through exploring the lab environment, learning about how we actually copy and paste into the learning environment. We also have at our disposal, yes, still $250, a built-in AI coach who is aware of all of the commands you have run thus far. It is aware of all of the labs in the course, and you could say, hey, I'm on lab XYZ and on step 11, and I'm running into this error, and Virgil's going to be able to help fix your problem. So when we are in these short window sort of instruction periods, you can still ask Virgil for help. So if I'm not around, or maybe you're doing some work after class, Virgil can help. That is a great feature that we have available to all of our students. And then on top of that, we'll go over simple things like learning how to use Vim. Vim is important. If you don't know Vim, we'll teach you very, very quickly. But if you're learning Kubernetes, you need to know Vim, because when you run a kubectl edit command, you're going to load up that manifest in a Vim editor. So you need to know Vim if you're going to be a Kubernetes administrator or an applications developer. We're also going to then jump right on into actual Kubernetes architecture. Now, Kubernetes architecture is a whole lecture series where we dive deep into what is Kubernetes. And we're going to talk about what Kubernetes does, what it doesn't do, its three basic architectural components. And one of the things that you might have seen through other people who are delivering courseware is highly complicated graphics with hardly any explanation. It's just a picture. Here it is. That's not fun. It's not a great way to learn. We take things very slowly. We try to keep our graphics as simple as possible. You're going to notice that I will do a lot of drawing as we go through all of these particular slides. But one of the most important things that we're going to do is we're going to discuss why Kubernetes. Why are we learning what it is that we're learning? I mean, sure, maybe someone told you Kubernetes was important, but why is Kubernetes important? We will discuss why Kubernetes is important as well. So the lecture content is then going to continue on. We're going to get into what is a container, what is really a container, and what are the 7 namespaces of isolation. What does this matter, and why does it change when we use Kubernetes? We're then also going to get into creating a Docker image, because before we can run containerized applications, you probably ought to know how containers function. And this is a first look into what our labs look like. We're going to explain to you what it is that we need you to do. Then we're going to give you the bash prompt, or the prompt that we expect you to see in your terminal window. So if I were to return, for example, to my terminal window, you'll notice that I have a little prompt here. And this little prompt is going to explain what machine I am on in my current working directory. So here I am the student user on the BCHD device, and I'm currently on my home directory, Git Kubernetes, the Alta 3-way, right? And that prompt will change as I navigate through my machine. As you can see, our Kubernetes cluster is now fully up and running, and that Ansible playbook is done, so I can run kubectl git nodes, and you'll notice that we have node 1 and node 2 in a ready position. This is wonderful stuff. The fact that we're actually running Kubernetes already, and by the way, you'll notice there's no cuts in this video. I'm doing this all in one take. It's done. No magic here. It's done, and we're running labs. That's how fast it is. I can't even get through the tour before this thing is done. Isn't it amazing? It's wonderful. Anyways, point being, hey, take a look at this. Cube control, get pods, TAC capital A. There we go. Ooh, something's missing here. What's missing? Control plane components. Why? We'll talk about it in class. It's for good reasons, security reasons. Because the thing is that at Alta 3 Research and here at InfraOpsGuild.com, we practice the same way we would play in the real world. There is a security implication to running control plane components on pods. So if you already know a little something about Kubernetes, you would have expected to see control plane components with that kube control get pods TAC capital A command. That means show me all pods across all namespaces. That's what that means. All right. Now, let's keep on going into our tour. Now that we've had a chance to take a look at the lab environment, we're going to go ahead and tell you about, hey, this is where you ought to be, right? This is your prompt, and this is the command we want you to run. This is the output that we're expecting. Now go run this command. You kind of get the idea. It's very simple. It's step by step. Now, if you're sitting there thinking to yourself, well, Tim, look, I like step by step. I like it when you tell me exactly what to do, but I want to challenge myself. I want to test my knowledge. Do you have anything that does this? Oh, of course. You're going to get full value for your $250. So how in the world are we going to actually give you an opportunity to challenge yourself? Well, here's the deal. When we head on back over to the demo, you'll notice that there is the Crush the CKAD exam mock exam. And at any point during the class, if you feel like that everything is too easy for you, well, then why don't you go ahead and test yourself? Jump on in here. Take a look at this. All of these are mock exam tasks. All of these are exam tasks that are very much like what you would find on the actual Certified Kubernetes Application Developer exam. If you come into pod basics, maybe you already know how to write pods, and you are ready to jump in and challenge yourself on writing a pod manifest, you can jump on into the pod basics exam task. You can then set up the exam task by clicking here on the copy to clipboard button for the command that'll set it up for us. So drill pod basics is the command that I could run. I can go ahead and paste that on in, and there we go. The exam task is ready to rock and roll. We're ready to go. We're ready to start learning. So now that we've done that, you'll notice we have a summary. This summary is written exactly like you would expect on the Certified Kubernetes Application Developer exam. And it says something like this: create a single pod in the namespace talent with the image Nginx 1.7.9. The pod should be named Singer, and the container should be named Opera. If you feel like this is an easy task, it kind of is. It's one of the first tasks we offer in our mock exam, but the thing is that it's also modeled very similarly, eerily similarly, to something you'd see on that exam. So it gives you an idea of what to expect. But what we don't see on the exam is this. We break out the individual tasks. What I found in taking any of these exams is that oftentimes the challenge isn't accomplishing the task itself, it's interpreting what the summary is asking you to do. So we're going to give you some practice with this. We're going to say, here are the tasks. You need to create a pod manifest as specified in the summary. You need to persist the manifest to etcd, having it be built in the talent namespace. You need to verify the pod was created successfully. Wonderful. This is great. So now you know exactly what it is you have to do, and you'll follow that list of tasks. And for every single task in the summary, we have a hint and we have an answer. Then you could tear down the lab and do it all over again until you perfect your talent. So you get to choose your level of difficulty. I could do this with a hint or two. Or maybe I'm brand new to this and I need an answer. Or maybe you would like a video tutorial that actually shows you how to do this. And that's what is really great about our courseware, is that we're not going to leave you hanging. If you're stuck, if you're lost, the instructor is there. If you are doing work after hours, Virgil, the AI assistant, is there. If you're doing something like a practice exam and you're still not getting it, we have a video demo showing you how to build pod manifests. It's all there. It's all there. So that's what you're getting for your $250. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time to join me in this little introduction to our courseware and what you can expect. I understand that price points being what they are a little weird and maybe a little scary. When you invest $250 in one of our classes, what are you really going to get? It honestly can't be that great. No, it is that great. It's the best. I guarantee it. And I maintain this course, and it's my job to make sure it's the best. So come on by. Kubernetes application developers part 1 and part 2 is coming up. Part 1 is going to kick off on September the 22nd through the 26th, operating at times that is convenient for you from 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time to 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We are going to be learning Kubernetes. Come join us. Part 2 of our Kubernetes experience will kick off on October the 6th through October the 10th. This will give you plenty of opportunity to get to work on all of those lessons learned from part 1 and ready to jump into part 2, just ready to rock, ready to get it done. Let's do it. Yeah. Now, one last thing before I part, and it is this. We have a partnership with Alta 3 Research, and Alta 3 Research is doing some incredible work out there. So if for whatever reason $250 is a little too rich for your taste, I want to go ahead and I want to point your attention to a little product that I like to call, a little product called Alta 3 Academy. And Alta 3 Academy is a very, very quick, easy way to jump on into all of Alta 3 Research's courseware for a simple monthly fee. So for the low price, let's scroll on down here because you're going to be amazed when I start telling you these prices. Those are all the courses, by the way, that are in the Academy. For the low price of $39 a month or $299 a year, you gain access to all of those classes I just scrolled by and the environments that I just showed you, and it's unlimited access. So if you don't want to sit through the instructor-based training and you want to sit down and say, hey, let's go ahead and let's get some of this stuff done, go ahead and do that. But let me hook you up a little bit more, okay? Because you sat through this whole video and maybe you're not coming to see me on my instructor-led training. That's fine. You can at least do me a favor and save yourself 10%. B-Dubs, that's B-D-U-B-Z. B-Dubs, B-D-U-B-Z is a promo code that you could use at checkout to save 10% on a monthly or an annual subscription. And if you purchase an annual subscription, you're saving $30 here, guys. So go ahead and hook yourself up with that. All right, everyone, that's everything I got for you. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this full tutorial video, welcoming you to the InfraOps Guild, powered by Alta 3 Research. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the classroom very, very soon. Sign up today at InfraOpsGuild.com. Again, that is InfraOpsGuild.com. See you then.